Executive Platinum, Emerald, Sapphire.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and I'm pleased to welcome back the tenacious Lee Harris. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks, Ria. I'm feeling very tenacious today indeed, I've got to say.
You should. That's a secret thing between Lee and I, but he's been very tenacious this week, and I'm very appreciative. I have to say that Crew Travel is brought to you weekly by Blue Marine Travel, who haven't lost a passenger since Lee Harris was born back in the late 1900s, and their people move people.
We certainly do. Yep, that is exactly what we do.
So this week is, aside from, of course, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, one of the things that we've been talking about a lot in the last sort of 2 years has been, COVID and how it's affecting flights straight across the planet and countries and crew and transiting and so on and so forth, and how difficult it has been to move around. But things are starting to ease up.
Yeah, it is. Week on week now, I think this is probably about 3 weeks in a row now where it's all been pretty much positive news. And that goes for Europe, the Caribbean, even now here in the South Pacific, we're starting to see that everything's starting to open up now. So fingers crossed, like we always say, things can change at the drop of a hat. But it's all looking positive, that's for sure.
Oh, what a relief, I tell you. There's people that want to go places and see family and all sorts of things, and that now is starting to open up to all of them, and that's a good thing. But back to the current crisis. Number one on our list today is Aeroflot. They're stopping all international flights but one.
They are, yeah. So the Russian state-owned airline Aeroflot has cancelled all international flights except one to Minsk in Belarus. Surprise, surprise. That's from March the 8th. This announcement comes after the country's aviation agency has recommended that airlines with foreign leased aircraft not fly to international destinations. The one exception, Belarus, is because Moscow and their neighbours, Belarus, have an excellent political relationship. Aeroflot currently flies to Minsk 4 times a day. These flights are currently unaffected. Aeroflot had a significant destination list. Some included cities in the United States like Washington, New York, Miami, and Los Angeles. The airline also flew to destinations in the Middle East, Asia, and Europe. Obviously, it goes without saying that the airline ceasing nearly all international flights, most other international airlines not flying into Russia. The reality for Russian crew at this moment in time is that they're going to be struggling to get flights to and from their respective destinations, unfortunately.
Realistically, I guess it's, you take a car to the border across into another country is really, but are they allowed out of the country?
That's the thing. I wonder whether they'll be allowed out of the country or whether the borders between neighbouring countries would be open. I know there are certain routes that are still open, maybe via United Arab Emirates for Russian crew. So, there are flights that are still operating into the country, albeit very difficult indeed. And obviously, with not many flying in there, also that then bumps up the prices drastically.
Well, and now that there is the inability to get finances into Russia and the fact that the ruble has dropped to a lifetime low, the amount of money that you need to get out of the country if you indeed need to is astronomical.
It is, it's extremely difficult, and I do feel for Russian crew, it's it's something that's out of their hands that they've now got to live with. That's their livelihood and their work as well, isn't it? So it's not fair to tarnish one country and all the population within it. So it's difficult times, and hopefully, fingers crossed, like we said last week, common sense will prevail at some point, albeit it doesn't look like it at the moment.
Well, I understand that there's supposed to be some talks coming up shortly, again, between Ukraine and Russia, and let's hope that I'm not going to go there. Let's hope that it's successful.
Let's hope. Keep our fingers crossed.
Exactly. St. Lucia, COVID.
Yes. So St. Lucia is to allow antigen tests as well as PCR tests as proof of COVID-19 status for vaccinated visitors arriving into the country. That was from March the 5th. Updated protocols say those aged 5 and over, as from Sunday, can either provide a negative rapid antigen test taken 1 day prior to entering St. Lucia or a negative RT-PCR COVID-19 test taken up to 5 days before arrival. Changes apply to fully vaccinated international arrivals, in-transit passengers and returning nationals. Rapid antigen tests must be administered by a healthcare provider. Self-administered tests and saliva tests are not accepted, and NHS tests for UK travellers are not valid for travel either. All unvaccinated travellers must present a negative PCR COVID-19 test taken up to 5 days prior to entering St. Lucia. Unvaccinated visitors also can continue to stay at the COVID certified properties. All test results must be registered at www.stlucia.org/COVID-19, and those who test negative will receive a ready-to-go email. St. Lucia's previous two-step approval process is no longer required for boarding.
Right, and we'll of course provide those links on your website.
They will be indeed. Yes, they'll all be on the website. Yeah, that's for sure.
And Germany has some good news.
So the German authorities have announced that as from March the 3rd, all countries were removed from its high-risk list. The move means that travellers, regardless of their country of origin, can now enter Germany without being subject to additional entry rules such as pre-entry testing and quarantine requirements. In line with the newly updated rules, all travellers from a European Union or Schengen area, as well as those from a safe third country, will be able to enter Germany without having to register their entry or follow additional entry rules. All they have to do is present a valid vaccination or recovery certificate or a negative COVID-19 test result on arrival.
Nice. And Qatar.
Yeah, vaccinated British travellers to Qatar no longer have to quarantine on arrival after the UK was removed from the Gulf states' red travel list. The UK was placed on Qatar's high-risk category for travel last November, along with 20 other countries amid a surge in cases of COVID-19. Arrivals from only 9 countries continue to be subject to isolation when visiting the country following the change made last Monday night. However, all visitors from the UK must submit a negative PCR lab result valid within 48 hours from departure and complete an online pre-travel registration at least 3 days before arrival.
And Greece, some good news.
Yep, and authorities in Greece, they've announced that vaccinated international arrivals planning to enter the country will no longer be required to fill in the detailed passenger locator form. The government of Greece has decided to abolish such requirements as part of efforts to further ease the travel restrictions imposed to contain the further spread of the coronavirus and its new strains. Arrivals from countries that are not subject to restrictions are now only obliged to present a negative result of the PCR test not older than 72 hours or an antigen test result not older than 24 hours upon their arrival in Greece.
And finally, we have an act of absolutely amazing generosity by an airline company for those that are looking to flee the conflict. Tell us about it.
Yes, we do. This is absolutely amazing, I've got to say. So instead of a crew question this week, I just want to share the wonderful directive by Wizz Air that they launched. They launched this past week. On the airline's social media, they've announced they're offering 100,000 free seats on short-haul flights to Ukrainian refugees throughout March. That's to help them to their final destination, wherever that may be. These flights will be departing from Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, and Romania. To be eligible, all you need is a Ukrainian passport. You can book your flights at www.wizzair.com/rescue. Now, I've put this Wizz Air social media post on my personal LinkedIn page. It's also on Blue Marine Travel's business page. And so if we can get as many people to share this as possible so it gets to the people who need it the most, that would be amazing. I think also really you put it on yours at the end of last week as well. So like I said, if we can get this shared out as much as possible so it gets to the right people, then that would be great.
Well, and I'm also part of a group that was set up by a wonderful lady that is originally from the area. It's Yachts for Ukraine, and it's been posted on there as well. And people are reaching out on that site to find housing. They're offering housing. It's all Yachts combined that are coming together to do whatever they can for the crisis at the moment.
Yeah, that's brilliant, isn't it? It's good to see the people all come together. You see the absolute awful side of war, but then with that becomes, you don't have to completely despair with humanity, I suppose, when you see people doing such wonderful things.
I think the thing for me is that when is this going to stop? We see the absolute atrocious side of us as human beings. And then we see, people coming together to be amazing. And you just kind of think, well, can't we just balance that out and just let everybody live for a while? I've never seen in my few decades alive, I have never seen such a world that is just tearing each other apart. I mean, we literally are tearing each other apart. It's never in history has been this bad. You know, we're fighting each other over race. We're fighting each other over equality. We're fighting each other over the planet. We're fighting each other over every possible thing we can possibly think of fighting each other over.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah, it's very polarized at the moment, isn't it? So, yeah, I don't know. It just there seems to be a lot of pent-up anger. I don't know whether that comes with people having to be locked down and all the rest of it, but it's been going. It's clearly not that, because it's been going on a lot longer than that, hasn't it? To be fair. So yeah, like you say, you know, why can't we find a happy medium where it's balanced out? But I guess that's not life, is it?
No, but the discontent has grown, and it's growing exponentially, and continues to do so. And I think that we're going to have to see some major changes, and I think it really does come from the government on down. Straight across the face of the planet, there's not a single government that is actually doing the job it should be doing for its people.
Yeah.
And there I go, getting political again. But really,
you can't help yourself.
I can't, but things have to change. Things have to change. We see the planet being destroyed. We see more and more people becoming homeless. Poverty is increasing. You think, what a mess we've made of it. What an absolute shit show we have made of this planet and our society. So, what I hope, but it wouldn't matter to me so much if I didn't have kids, because I'm old, so I'm going to die soon, right? But I've got kids, and I worry about the next generation.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like I said before, I've got 3 daughters, and you do wonder, don't you, what kind of world you're going to leave for them? And at this moment in time, it's definitely not looking great, that's for sure.
No. Well, Lee, I have to say thank you again, because you always provide the best information to the audience out there. You definitely have to subscribe to his personal LinkedIn, because that is busy. And as it's happening, it's up on Lee's LinkedIn. So we'll provide that link. We'll also provide the link to Blue Marine Travel website in case you are looking for any of the information that Lee mentioned today in this show. So thank you, Lee.
Always a pleasure, Ria. Love being here. So same time, same place next week.
That's right. I have to mention again that Crew Travel is brought to you by Blue Marine Travel, who haven't lost a passenger since Lee Harris was born back in the late 1900s. And their people move people, which is probably a good thing when you're in travel.
It certainly is.
Tune in again next week, same time, same place. My name is Ria. I have been your host. We'll see you again.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're boarding passengers seated in zones E and F at this time.